Good evening. I'm Dr. Greenbrier Almond, and thank you for joining us on our program, Tender Loving Care. As you can see, I have a very special guest tonight, Sarah Gillespie. Sarah, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
You know, you are one of the rising talented students in Buchanan Upshur High School. And how many students have written a book and only be a junior in high school? This is a book that Sarah's written, Just a Little Faith. And Sarah, thank you for doing this. It's quite remarkable.
Thank you.
How did you get inspired to be motivated to write a book?
Well, ever since when I was little, I've always liked writing books for my dolls and things. Then one day I just decided I have to do this. I want to write a book and publish it. And it was hard at times. We just had to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just felt like writing one day, and I just kept going.
Yeah, you have your parents are probably an inspiration. People may or may not know your parents, but why don't you identify them and what they do, and that way, you know, how we ground each other in Buchanan. Everyone's related in some way to someone else. So
that's for sure. My mother's name is Renee Gillespie, and my father's name is Matthew Gillespie, and they both work in the Board of Education. And my father works at the high school, my mother works at the middle school. And I have a brother, and his name's Nathan Gillespie. And he's in college now at Fairmont State, but he's still part of us, you know.
Uh-huh. Excellent, yeah. He still claims you.
Yeah, he still claims me most of the time.
Okay, very good. I had 4 sisters, so I know about brother, sister.
Oh, yeah, gotta love him.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, you have written this book, and I think you spoke to the United Methodist Men, and I really appreciated that. And now you have this opportunity to talk to our community. But your grandparents actually inspired you and helped you too, didn't they? I mean, to finally get it accomplished.
My grandparents, Joyce Lowe and Nelson Lowe from Lewis County, they helped start my inventory, and they bought the first set of about 125 books. And once I started selling them, and then I had some money to go by, and I've been making money ever since. So
okay.
They were really helpful.
Now you'll see a banner all night long as we talk, and it's faithfullysarah@yahoo.com. This is an email address where if someone's watching tonight, the book costs $10.
Yep.
They can email, and you'll respond, and they can buy the book.
Or you can go to the bookstore in Main Street in Buchanan.
Okay.
Or you can go to Amazon.com and get the book too. Excellent.
Okay. So that's a wonderful. You're also, besides being a good author, it looks like you have a good business plan.
Yeah, this book helped me learn how to run a business. It was hard at first. I was really struggling, but my brother helped me with that. He's going into business, so helped me figure it out.
Well, very good. I'm sure that there must be a part of the Bible or one part that you hold up as more important than others, or something you say when the going gets rough. With a name like Sarah, that's a very much of a Bible name, Abraham and Sarah. What is a scripture that you live by?
Well, my favorite verse is Philippians 4:11, and whatsoever state I'm in, therewith to be content. And in that situation, Paul, he was getting beaten with stones. Like, you know, just think, if we can be content in whatever state we're in. If some man's being beaten with stones, you know, we need to be content in whatever situation. So if I was having trouble with my book, I could think, well, it could be a lot worse. I could be starving. You know, it's just, we have so much stuff to be thankful for, you know. We could be a lot worse situations.
Sure, absolutely. And you obviously are part of a youth fellowship in a church. Where do you worship?
I go to San Ramon Baptist Church, and the preacher's Don Butcher, and he's great. And I just love everyone there. They're all so loving and kind, and there's just so many people I could just name off the top of my head, like Algana Guthrie, and I'm sure a whole bunch of people you know her. They're just all so great. I just love them all. Yeah,
it's a very caring, and our program name is Tender Loving Care, but a very caring congregation. I've worshiped there at different times, and they always are very friendly and outgoing, and of course the Bible is preached.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're always wanting to give you a hug when you first walk in.
Excellent. Is there any other scripture you wanted to lift up?
Psalms 27:14. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. And I think that we need to wait and be patient, because I know I struggle with patience because I want instant gratification all the time. You know, everybody does anymore, especially.
Yeah.
And it's just, we just need to wait and try listening to God and see what He's telling us to do. You know, it's a lot harder to do that, especially with all these new things they keep creating all the time.
Sure.
So I think we just need to be quiet and think about Him more.
I think probably the discipline of writing has helped you learn how to wait, because there's sort of an inspiration, isn't there, to writing.
Yeah, I can't just write. You can't just say, go write this. I have to be inspired or have some feeling like I want to do it.
Right. And in that sense, the word inspiration also means like the Spirit coming into us, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Well, in a minute here, we're going to look at a poster that you've made. But talk with us about your book. This, again, is Just a Little Faith. And Sarah Gillespie, now 16 or 17?
I'm 17 now.
17
I finished
now.
it when I was 16.
Okay, and it took several years.
Yeah.
This is a picture of you as a young lady. The horse on the front, it's about a young lady and a horse, isn't it? But that's not your horse.
No, I don't even own a horse. I've never really ridden a horse. I just like them. I just think they're pretty. But Rosemary Tomlin took the picture. She works at the middle school. And Sarah Tomlin, that's her horse. His name's Xander.
Xander, okay.
Xander.
We want to honor Xander because he's a very handsome horse, and of course made a great cover.
Oh, he was very pleasant. He was nice to me. He didn't mess me up or anything. I was nervous, but he worked really well.
Yeah. We live in a rural part of West Virginia, and in West Virginia people do have animals, or they see animals. You see deer in our yard. And
oh, yeah.
How did you come to write about a relationship, I think, is between a young lady and her horse in part, isn't it?
Well, probably because I have a cat, and I've always, not just the cat, but after I got my first pet, I realized how much of a relationship can grow with when you have a pet. And when I was little, I used to always think horses were pretty and always wanted one, and I thought it would be neat to ride one. And I can't ride a horse. I don't have the money for it. So I want to just write about what I want to do with a horse, you know, and what I drew about and what I read about all the time.
Well, your art will probably become realities, too. You'll probably end up riding a horse someday.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to look at a poster that Sarah's prepared, and I want you to lift up some of the things that you've written about by way of your poster. And you created this. You actually had an opportunity to go to, was it Huntington or Charleston or someplace to give a talk?
I went to the Greenbrier for the
Greenbrier, even better yet.
for the West Virginia Readers Conference.
Okay.
And I met lots of publishers, and I met all sorts of different authors, West Virginia authors, and I learned how I can get into actual publishing with other companies, and what publishers to stay away from, and which ones are reliable. And then I also learned how it's cheaper or how it's more expensive to sell them, so how you can make more money. I learned a lot, and it was really fun. It was the first time at the Greenbrier, and it was beautiful. It was great.
Yeah, well, very good. And so you made the poster for that. Well, let's look at the poster, and then you can comment about it, okay?
Okay.
We appreciate Channel 3, by the way, and Rodney Irwin, who's very good at all the technical aspects of producing a show, and has done a great job over the years for Tender Loving Care. So why don't we look, there you are.
That's the book.
In the book, okay. Isn't it a great shot of you and Xander?
Xander.
Xander, what a beautiful name for a horse, too. This is a mystery novel? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Well, we couldn't decide what genre we'd put it in because there's so many different aspects. It has romance and faith and mystery. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. So we just finally said it's mostly mystery because the whole time she's looking for her father in the book.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Here are some quotes about the book that we wanted to emphasize on.
Okay, faith. This is a good beginning. I think Sarah and Abraham are known for their faith, aren't they?
This is very true.
Yeah.
And as I wrote this, it's sometimes hard to think of things, and you had to pray to God and ask Him to give you some kind of inspiration or words when you're having writer's block. And I thought this was good. Sometimes God doesn't answer our prayers the way we want or think they should be answered. So you might not always get the prayer answered exactly how you want, but He's going to answer it in some way most of the time.
Did you lift this? Did you write this? Is that a sentence from the book itself?
Yes. This is a quote within my book.
Quote from the book. So you are a very deep writer, a very deep thinker,
Thank you.
aren't you? Sometimes God doesn't answer our prayers the way we want or think they should be answered. Your young lady her father's missing, right? And is this she's probably praying to find her dad.
Actually, she's mad at God. She doesn't believe in God.
Uh-oh.
And there's a boy, of course, in the story, and that's what brings along the romance. And
Well, let's look at romance too. Then you can go ahead and finish the thought, though.
He believes in God, and he's worried about her because she runs away to go find her dad, and he witnesses to her. And they're friends, but along the way, it changes. And you watch how her faith changes and her relationship changes with the guy named Jeremiah.
Ah, okay.
So
there's some romance, okay.
Yeah, so in this quote is, he guided the horses so they were touching one another, then he gently took her into his arms. So that's when they're riding their horses together, when they're just about to go look for their dad together.
Uh-huh. Wow, okay, very good. And I imagine we think about the Wild West. This is actually not a West Virginia scene.
No, I don't know why. I just liked being creative, so I went into Montana.
Montana, okay. A lot of people like Montana, though, who like West Virginia.
Yeah, a lot of things are similar. I had to look up all the information. So I found out all about their animals and their geography, and everything in there is relative to Montana. I looked up the rivers, the mountains, all the places.
So you're being realistic.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned this is a mystery. So what about suspense?
Well, there's one part where Jeremiah is getting close to a bear, and this is the quote from that. Bang, bang! The bang turned toward Jeremiah and roared. His eyes no longer appeared curious, for now they were cold and furious. He stood on his hind legs with his paws in the air, shrieking. The bear glued his eyes on Jeremiah, as if to say, "You're dead." Jeremiah knew he couldn't outrun him if he tried.
Oh my, now this is not our black bear that we have in West Virginia. This is the grizzly.
Yes, and I looked up to see how big they would be so I could describe him, and he's got paws the size of magazines.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, very big.
And they're aggressive bears, aren't they?
Yes, and it was kind of hard to write about, but once you look up the information and find out information about the animal, it's easier to understand.
And our black bears are friendly. I mean, at least on our farm, if you go out to the farm and there's blackberries to eat, and the black bear is eating the berries, and I want to eat some, he'll lumber off and let me eat, and then when I'm gone, he comes back in and eats. But they're not aggressive toward humans, are they?
Yeah, and they're smaller too. So if you just kind of just ignore them, they'll be fine.
But you got the bear right too. Well, how about that?
Yeah.
You're a very good writer. I'm a realist. I like that. And humor. We have to have humor, right?
Yeah, you need to have something funny, because if you just are sad or depressing all the time, I think it's not a good book to read. You need something funny. So this part is where Jeremiah falls off his horse.
Ooh,
so Jeremiah began to climb off Hercules when all of a sudden he fell on the ground. Jess, that's the girl, began laughing hysterically. He had landed in a fresh pile of gooey horse manure. Jeremiah joined in the merriment and roared for all he was worth.
Okay. Well, very good. So this is a poster that you made for the exhibit down at the Greenbrier.
Yeah, and I have other ones I have too that have the quotes that show what are similes and personification for English teachers to understand that it's not just some book I threw together. There's actually figurative language in it.
Wow. Okay. And are you an excellent student in English?
Yeah, I think math is probably my favorite subject, but I have a 4.28.
Wow.
So.
Okay. So we're talking to a very smart young girl.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for coming on, Sarah.
Oh, thanks.
We have a poet laureate in West Virginia, and the last 18 years, it's been Dr. McKinney, and she unfortunately has just passed away. But she's been an English teacher here at West Virginia Wesleyan College. I was talking to a friend of hers today who said that when she was a young lady, that she was quite remarkable. I think she was one of the brightest students in Belington, and at their high school at that time. And everyone knew that she would be an exceptional person, and indeed she became our poet laureate. So who knows what's in your future?
Yeah, who knows? You just never can tell. But
right. Well, you have written about writing your book, and we have time to talk about that too, because someone else may be watching. We have a lot of young people who watch the program. I know as I exercise and go around Buchanan, go over to the college, and I'll see kids over there, and they'll say, "Oh, I see you on TV," you know, and maybe someone will recognize you after tonight. But anyway, kids are watching TV. Maybe it's supper time, whatever the TV's left on. So you might be speaking to some classmates or people who are interested in writing. When you were 14, you began to write this. This took you away from your friends in some way. I mean, it's a discipline, and they want to say, let's go have fun, and you say, I have to write a book?
Yeah, sometimes, especially on snow days and during the summer, I would just stay at home, and sometimes I'd dedicate the whole day just to write, because once I had the idea, I just wanted to keep going, and I didn't want to stop. And sometimes it was hard because you wanted to go play or something, or go swimming, or play in the snow, but you just have to just stay focused and keep going. And it really helped me with my determination and what I wanted to do with my life, because it helps. I think it helps responsibility too, time management especially, especially with homework and other things you're involved in.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to get something done, there's an old saying: "Ask a busy person."
Yeah.
And you probably have learned to master your time.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's more fun when time goes faster when you have more things to do.
Okay. Now, also, when you are writing, and everyone speaks of this, but you've experienced it, what we call writer's block. I mean, you're inspired, and then suddenly you hit the wall.
Well, when I had the writer's block, it was really hard. I didn't know how hard it was going to be. But I did. I would pray to God, and you would think I would go talk to my mom or my dad, or maybe your friends or something. But I wanted outside help, so I would pray to God and ask Him to give me some strength, wisdom, patience, especially patience. That was hard, and determination especially. But He usually, all the time, He gave me another idea, or I'd sit on my back porch a lot and write, because especially in the summer, and I would just look around, and then all of a sudden I would see something, and it'd spark me an idea after, while I was praying. So
how about that? And often these things happen almost, well, we'd have to say miraculously. I mean, when God intervenes, it's beyond reason, isn't it? It's something just a total blessing. Yeah. I think one thing I like about the practice of medicine, and our program Tender Loving Care is talking about the caring aspect of medicine, but God does the healing. I mean, we are instruments. The doctors are instruments, and did you feel like you were sort of God's instrument? I mean, you're saying something that, in a sense, God inspired you to say.
Yeah, a lot of the times, and I don't even know what I'm writing most of the time, because English teachers will say you have rhetorical strategies, and they specifically use that strategy to do. I don't know. I just kept going. It would just pop in my head, and I would just write it out on a piece of paper. And I really think that He helped me give me all these ideas, because I couldn't have done it without God.
Yeah, and obviously it's a good book, because I don't know anyone else who's ever been invited to come to the Greenbrier to talk about their book and learn how to be a better writer. So that is something. Your mother and her friend Hallie Hurst. Hallie is Hallie Davison Hurst. I mean, she's a classmate of mine from high school, so I know she's a very good teacher and of course a very fine person. How did they help you? I mean, the woman's touch or the teacher's touch.
Well, when I first started the book, I was only 14, and with all the busy things you're involved in, I started finishing it when I was 16, and I read back through the book, and I noticed how I changed. My writing was totally different. And I talked to Hallie Hurst and my mom, and Hallie Hurst is an English teacher I had in the past, and they both helped me revise the entire book. Not revise as in all my words they changed. I had to make sure I didn't change what I didn't want them to, but like grammatical errors and mechanics to help me fix. And we fixed it so it didn't sound like you could see the change. Right,
sure. We all need a good editor, don't we?
I mean, even professional books, you still see mistakes sometimes.
Sure. And I always remember Ernest Hemingway, which I loved his writing. He wrote adventure stories and things that I liked. The snows of Kilimanjaro, and always wanted to go to Africa. And when I grew up, my daughter actually went to Africa first, but we got to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and I always remembered Ernest Hemingway. But anyway, as a writer, he would write things 25 times until he got everything just right. No extra words, but just the right words, and that's hard work, isn't
That's
it?
some dedication. I don't know if I could write something 25 times.
Yeah. How many times do you think you wrote some of these passages? 2 or 3 times at least.
Maybe 2 or 3 times,
Yeah,
but I don't think
yeah.
I could do it 25
25.
times. I get his point across.
Yeah. Another thought, as you finish this, you had to seek a publisher. Is this self-published now, or do you have a commercial publisher?
We looked up online. We had a friend from Lewis County, and we found out this company. We used CreateSpace.com, and it publishes and it gives you my ISBN number, and then it automatically.
And that's your listing at the Library of Congress.
Yeah, I had to do that myself. They didn't
Okay.
give me they didn't give me my copyright. We bought that,
Okay.
and we got it put in, and it automatically put it on Amazon for me too
Okay.
through this company, and it was about $5 per book, and so then I could create money through. It was really cheap. So, but the next few books, after going to the Greenbrier, when I met publishers, I'm going to send them off, and I actually sent one off this evening. So
Oh, another book.
I did.
Wow, you heard it first on Tender Loving Care. Okay.
I sent off Squirt's Alien Adventure. It's about a little shark. It's a little
Wow.
kid's book.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I am doubly, triply impressed.
Thank you.
Well, writing just a little faith. Now, why write about faith? I mean, you have lifted up your name. Sarah implies faith, and you've lifted up some Bible verses that indicate faith. But what message do you want to get out about faith, and why would that be a message for our time, if you want to say it that way, or for young people to know about?
Well, I like reading books that are faith-oriented, and I have lots of friends, that don't always want to, which is fine. I'd like reading books that aren't always faith-oriented too. But I want people to know our age that it's not uncool, and it's okay to believe in God and have faith in God. And that's what I kind of wanted to get out through this book, was to read it and understand that we can still be good Christian people and do other things. We don't have to try to be cool or do all this silly drinking and all this other stuff. You can pray to God and have a normal Christian life too.
Okay, and it's all compatible, isn't it? I think like C.S. Lewis, who was an Oxford professor, I mean, very smart man, wrote a book, Surprised by Joy. I mean, joy, everyone wants to be happy, but it's nice that that's a Christian emotion, isn't it? I mean, it's really, if you want to have a good time, I mean, actually, God-inspired fun is the best fun you can have, isn't it?
I think so. And when you have something, like if you go to a church function, you always feel better afterwards, because you just feel all the joy and everybody's friendly and loving. And I don't think if you went to those kind of other functions, you wouldn't feel the joy you feel when you go to a church function.
Yeah. I've heard singers will tell me, they said, the Christian songs, the Negro spirituals or other songs like this, they come out of, they're more fun to sing even. There's a deeper
meaning and feeling to them.
than some songs that are written. Well, we have a few minutes more. You say you've written this other book. It's just going to come on. Can people go online soon, or in a month or two?
Well, I'm writing 2. I just sent that one off. It's going to be a children's book. I don't know if they accepted it. I just did send it.
Sure. Well, we can pray about that.
We can hope. We can pray.
Yeah.
But it's about a shark, and he gets abducted by aliens. But it's really people. But it's his perspective that they're aliens.
A shark, as in the ocean.
A little shark. Yeah. It's just a little kid. A little cartoon.
Well, you're an amazing person again, because you didn't write about a possum or a groundhog. You've written about a shark. I mean, something that you might not know about.
My dad inspired me through this one. We were watching Discovery Channel and watching Shark Week, and he said, "I wonder what it's like to be a shark when they take you out of the water." And I just thought, we need to write about it. So I wrote the story. And my dad has an art degree, and he's going to draw the pictures. So it can kind of be our own story together. So we already have the drawings, and we sent the drawings off in with the book. And then the other book I'm going to do is called The Only Exception. And it's going to be more like the Just a Little Faith book.
Okay.
It's going to have Christian stuff, and it's based in the Depression era. And it's kind of, I'm really close to my grandparents.
Okay. They've lived through the Great Depression.
Well, yeah, and I've talked to my grandma, Marietta Gillespie, and she lived during the Great Depression, and I got some information from her, and I just think it's an interesting time period, and I wanted to talk about, you know, how this relationship of this girl when she lives in Pennsylvania, and she feels pressure that she's too much money on her family, you know, she's wasting their money. So she moves, this one's in West Virginia.
Okay.
She moves and goes to Harper's.
At last, West Virginia.
Yeah, finally, West Virginia. She moves to Harper's Ferry with her grandmother. So it talks about her relationship with her grandma.
Okay.
And then there's a guy still, you know, needs some romance in there.
Sure,
Girl book,
sure.
I guess.
Well, I mean, romance sells, but also it's part of life, isn't it, too?
It is.
I mean, we're all going to have Valentine's Day coming up. We should remember to say I love you to the people that matter in our life, and try to keep romance in our life too. So I mean, it's good you're writing about this.
Yeah.
It sounds like you really are well grounded as a young person.
Thank you.
And after here you are a junior, you're going to go to college, maybe be a English teacher.
I'd like to go into teaching. I think elementary school probably. I'd probably be more apt to teach like 4th or 5th grade. I love little
That's
kids.
when kids really get into reading, don't they? Yeah. I had a Miss Cookman as my teacher in the 4th grade, and she had a library at the back of her class, and I think there were about 170 books or something. I read them all that year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well,
you're a reading machine.
Well, yeah. Well, she just let me sit back there, and if I finished my work, I could read, you know. And anyway, it was a great inspiration. So you can have a lot of influence over people. Well, Sarah, thank you very, very much for coming on our program,
you're welcome.
Tender Loving Care. Once again, your banner and where they can email you is faithfully Sarah at yahoo.com. Okay, and if you want to buy the book, it's $10. Just a Little Faith. And I want to say a special thanks, of course, to your parents, your grandparents, and to God for
that's definitely to God.
inspiring you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Until the next time, this is Dr. Greenbrier Allman thanking you for joining us on our program, Tender Loving Care. Special thanks to Channel 3 also for letting us come your way each week, as we have for over 35 years. So we've seen a lot of interesting people, including tonight, Sarah Gillespie.